How to set your gun correctly. So I want you to take it out of its wrapping, of course. So right here, when you take your gun out of its box, it's manufacturer's setting for shipping. So what I want to explain to you is some important points on the gun. Back here, you've got this gold locking ring and a screw. And what I want you to do is I want your screw to stick out from that gold locking ring about 5/16 of an inch, maybe so you can count about 7 or 8 rings on the screw. And then the locking ring is going to hold it in place once you have it set at the right setting. What this screw right here is doing is it's going to give you the amount of trigger pull power that you're going to get, which in turn will determine how much solution is sucked up through the cup, okay? So that's where that needs to be set. Now on the front of the gun, you've got this big black dial, and that is your adjustment dial. That is going to give you your width of your spray. Are you going to be at a 2-inch spray pattern, a 1-inch, a 4-inch? This right here is going to determine that for you. So, and this nozzle right here is going to determine if you're spraying straight up and down or if you're spraying horizontal. So most of the time you're going to just be spraying straight up and down. So how to set your front of your gun, this adjustment ring, I want you to dial it back so it's as far back as it can go, flush against the silver. Take your thumb, the bottom of your ring there, and dial it half a dial up, and do that 2 more times. 2. That is going to give you about a 2-inch spray pattern, which is where I want it to be. And you'll notice I have my nozzle up and down, which is going to give me up and down spray pattern. Okay, now I want you to undo your box from your LVCLP gun, and I want you to tape it up somewhere so you can actually see what you're doing. I'm going to have you put water in your cup, and I'm going to have you practice on cardboard. The best thing about cardboard is you can see where you're wet and not wet, so you can see what you're doing here. So I'm going to put water. Okay. Now I have water attached to my gun. I'm going to attach my gun to my hose, which is a real easy, quick release. Just pull on your quick release and set your gun right inside and let go. And that gives you a nice, strong, secure attachment. So what I want you to think about with your gun is when you are spraying up and down, you're always going to have your gun up and down. I never want you to tip your gun to the side. You can tilt your gun very easily, but if you actually tip your gun to the side, solution is going to go up inside your shaft and your gun it could create clogging issues. So always keep in mind that your gun is straight up and down or tilted slightly, and that's okay. Another very important feature about your gun, your black lid right here. Every time you take your cup on and off the gun, I want you to hold your black lid to loosen it, and then you can hold your gun again and finish unwinding your cup. When you reattach it, get it to be on there fairly secure, hold on to the black lid, and tighten it the rest of the way. That way you're not going to wiggle any of this loose and cause air issues with your gun. So what I want you to see here is I want you to see a 2-inch spray pattern when you're spraying. I want you always to be 4 inches from your person's body, right here, the cardboard. 4 inches is always where you want to be at all times. So I'm going to turn the machine on. Okay. And here's where you'll see the color difference. When you start spraying, I want your hand in motion before you pull your trigger. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when I do that and when I don't do that. So here's how I want it to look. You're going to come up, my hand's in motion, I pull the trigger, and I let go. See how I have a nice even line here? It's starting to dry right there. I'm going to come back down that same spot. Nice even motion. Now, what happens if I don't do that? If I pull the trigger and then I start moving, I pull my trigger and I start moving, and if I don't let go of my trigger, I'm going to have very hard lines. I do not want you to have that on your client's body because that's going to be very dark right here and here and not very tan here. Another important factor is keeping your hands steady, in motion, and at a consistent speed throughout the tan. Watch what happens if I'm not consistent. I'm going to come up, I go really fast, and then slow down. And really fast. Now this client is going to be tan, barely tan. But if you're nice and steady, let go, nice and steady, you got a nice even spray mist right here. That's what I want you to be able to see. And I'm gonna adjust this a little bit. I have a little bit too much solution coming out. I'm loosening the locking ring, dialing that screw in just a little bit farther, and locking my ring there again. Now I want you to practice tilting your gun. Say if someone is standing and their arm is curved to the side, I want you to be able to spray as if their arm is at an angle. So here's where it's okay to angle your gun. You come down and like that. So you have a nice even spray pattern there. Now if I don't angle my gun, here's what you're gonna get. You're gonna get a hard, that's nice even. I'm gonna get a hard line. That hard straight line and then a nice spray. So it's really important to angle your gun very nicely, okay? Now we're gonna go over overlapping. So when you're spraying a client's leg, I want you, again, I'm gonna have my hand in motion, hold the trigger, let go, my hand's still in motion, come down that same spot. I got a nice consistent speed, and I'm gonna just slightly overlap when I move next to that spot. Again, hold the trigger, hand in motion, let go, and stop. A nice even spray pattern right there. Here's what happens if I miss. I'm gonna go a little too farther away where I'm not overlapping. And this is what's gonna happen on your client. They're gonna be tan, tan, not very tan. If this happens and you see this, and you will see it on your client's body, that's okay. Take your gun, do a light little mist until everything looks nice and uniform. Okay, so now I am at the end of my day, ready to go home, but I'm gonna finish cleaning my gun before I leave. So what I wanna do is, again, I'm gonna loosen the cup. I'm holding the black lid to loosen it, holding my gun, and now I'm gonna unwind the cup from the gun, and I'm gonna pull that trigger to release the solution that is up in the shaft area. And just kind of shake it so you don't get solution all over. And I'm gonna set that down, and I'm gonna put that solution back in the container it needs to go in. If it's a light mix, put it in the light, medium mix, put it in the medium. If it's a combination, get a separate lid and label that so you know what's in your cups at all times. Then I'm gonna grab some fresh water. I'm gonna put that on my gun, and I'm tightening the lid now. So, and then you're gonna turn your machine on. And what I want you to do is place your finger on the inside of a towel. A white towel is always good because you can see when the solution comes out clear. So I'm just gonna pull my trigger. I'm gonna spray. I'm gonna get a new fresh spot. I'm spraying clean, fresh water. So now it's coming out clean. I'm gonna get my finger right on that wet spot. And Mark, if you'll come in and show, I'm gonna press on this needle on the tip of the gun. I'm gonna press this needle area, the nozzle back, because my needle is gonna have solution on it, more than likely after a busy day, and you'll see that. So I want you to just press so you can, when I press, you can see that retreat. And then I'm gonna dial at 2 clicks, and I'm gonna spray horizontal, like that. And now my solution's coming out clean. I'm gonna shut my machine off. I'm gonna take the cup off, and I'm gonna, again, release the solution that's in the shaft, clean my cups, and I'm done for the day. So before you actually start your spray can, I want you to turn your gun and pull the trigger and make sure your solution is coming out nice and even. So here is where I want you to pay attention to. When I start on her ankle, I'm gonna have my hand in motion before I pull that trigger and that solution starts coming out. That creates a nice, even, soft line. So Mark, if you wanna follow me down to the ankle area, and here we go. So, Heidi, what I want you to do is give me a little tiny bend so I make sure and get her smile lines so she doesn't have white little lines when I tan her. So here we go on her ankle. And up, and I'm gonna let go of my trigger, pull back down, and I let go of the trigger there at the bottom. So there's way less solution here than up here. And here we go again, right next to that spot.